Oh, live show typo. Had the loop going, had the show going again. I'm on the spot because Larry is joining us tonight. For those of you that are joining us in the chat, please say hello. Let us know where you're joining us. But we do have a special guest tonight that I'll be bringing up in just a moment. So, nothing more embarrassing than messing up in front of somebody that, you look up to a little bit. So, anyway, before I get to Larry, I will say I normally have like a cute little script up. I got no script tonight. I've got a few articles we're going to share. Larry's got some stuff he's going to share. And I'm excited to get into some of the things we're going to talk about because I think we don't talk about some of these things enough. I think sometimes we're making decisions flying by the seat of our pants and not thinking about how it may affect the bottom line, if you will, the value of our home, the pocketbook, if you will. So, Tom Mining, hello from Virginia Beach, local to me. I was actually in Chesapeake today teaching a class. So, very cool. Welcome to the show. Let's go ahead and bring on Larry. Larry, I normally have a cute intro and I do all kinds of cool stuff, but instead, I think tonight I'm going to give you the opportunity, if you will, just to kind of introduce yourself.
Yeah, no AI info. I'm authentic. I hope I'm authentic. So my name is Larry Mason, Great Lakes Home Inspections, partner of Pest Pros of Michigan LLC, owner of Home Rapid Repair YouTube channel. I think I do a few little things. Hopefully they turn out to be something pretty good. I know I've been a licensed contractor and certified home inspector in my state for over 24 years, almost 25 years. I've personally inspected thousands and thousands of properties. I feel like that puts me in a unique position to help out homeowners. I'd literally only talk about the home day in and day out, answering questions, helping first-time home buyers, old ladies, middle-aged people, anybody in between. So excited. I think this is my third time. Thank you, Josh, for the invite. I really appreciate it. I always appreciate it. I see Andrew's
been 3
out there.
times. Yeah, very cool.
I think it's been 3. My math skills are lacking as I'm getting older, but I think it's been 3, brother.
I don't know if you saw, but Andrew here gave you a super chat on your YouTube channel.
Wonderful.
Because
I don't know.
You're streaming to your channel too. Yes.
And in fairness, I didn't know StreamYard allowed that, but there was a little button that says go live on your channel as well. I said, what the heck? I guess I should have asked your permission.
No. It asks me before I even set up the show if that's okay. And I of course said yes.
Beautiful. So. Well, thank you, Andrew. Thank you. The Whopper's on you this week. I appreciate it.
Oh, very good. Do you eat a lot of fast food, Larry?
Somewhat. Yeah. If you work out of a pickup truck, you have to be very careful with your diet because you have times in the middle of the day that you're just trying to kill, and it is all too easy, man. But I feel like a Chipotle is so much healthier-ish than like a greasy cheeseburger. So I don't know. I think there's things you can do. My oldest son also now works with me. He's been working with me now for 6 years, and cool. He has better quality standards for taste. So now we go to a lot more like diners and just finer establishments, not so much the Taco Bells and the McDonald's anymore. So
nice.
my gut thanks him for that. I'm sorry.
How old is your son?
He's 26, almost 27.
Okay, yep. Very cool.
I'm an old man. I have adult.
You ain't that old, pal. Well, let's go ahead and dive into these articles, and I think I can figure out a way to share yours here. Bear with me just a second, because I looked at yours. I have to be honest. I cheated. I looked at yours and saw what you were bringing to the table, and I think the one that I picked out, they're going to play off of one another well. And just real quick, if you are joining us and you've never seen our show before, since you are streaming to your channel too. Those of you that, Larry just introduced himself. He's got a wider range of knowledge. I'm probably more specialized knowledge, right? I don't have the knowledge base that you do across the board when it comes to homes, but I am a master plumber and master HVAC mechanic in the state of Virginia, and I owned a business for almost 12 years. Sold that this year, believe it or not. I won't be able to say that here in 15 days, 16 days. I won't be able to say this year anymore. So time's a flying. Let's see. See if I can share. And yours is this one.
The 5 home improvements you can increase your property value.
So I just purged my computer this week to see if that's been the holdup on the screen sharing. I've had a
Okay.
problem with StreamYard and getting it to screen share well. So I don't know if it's going to or not, Larry.
Okay. I have
The
it up on mine. If you don't, I can run through what I was going to say about it.
Sure. What I'm going to do, unless you tell me not to, I'm going to share the link to this article in the
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah.
And that way, if anyone does want to look more
They
into
can
any
click
of
on it.
this, they can. But yeah, if you want to run through it and let's add some value to our homes here.
Awesome. Awesome. So it was, the article was called 5 home improvements that can increase your property value. Now, guys, when you click on these kind of articles, a lot of times they're very, very salesy. So be careful. Like when it's best drill, best compound miter saw for the home, it's a sales tactic, and they'll rank these products. And to me, it looks like advertisers are literally paying to be in the products, or they have affiliate links for the product. So just be careful. Make sure it's kind of from a newsy site. This one is US News and World Report. The information is good. I felt like I have some different information that I have always heard from the real estate community for 2
Perfect.
decades, but let's get into it. 5 home improvements that can increase value to your home. Everybody wants to know, if you're going to spend money and repair your home, you don't want to waste it. You want to get that money back someday when you sell it and add value. And the number one, this goes for Josh. The number one, it says HVAC cooling and heating systems. So it says replace your equipment, and it talks about how much money the average cost is, and you're adding value to the home. I will say it depends on the buyer. If it's a more middle-aged, older, more seasoned buyer, yeah, they're experienced in life. They care about what kind of equipment is in my house. Is it name brand? Does it have good warranties? They care about how old the roof is. They're going to ask about the window quality. They're smart, they're educated, they're experienced. Whereas the first time buyer, possibly they're very young, possibly they're going to be swayed by the beautiful floors and the renovated bathrooms and kitchens. And that's the one that realtors have always told me, Josh, forever and forever. It's kitchens and bathrooms sell house, bar none. It's always kitchens and bathrooms. They better be spotless and looking beautiful and updated. But this
I'm glad
article
you said
says,
that. I don't know if you want to
yeah,
wait till the end of your article or if it's okay if we touch on each one of them. But
interrupt me, please.
No, I just have 2 cents to add to the HVAC thing too, because I have been told the same thing, that kind of what you're describing, in that a lot of realtors will say, I've never had a realtor say to me, hey, we've got to get the system replaced. We want to add more value to the home. Make sure it's a top of the line system or something like that. They don't ever, buyers don't care. They just want to know if it's new or not.
In fairness to US News and World Report, the title again says 5 home improvements that can increase value to your property. So they're not saying it's the best 5, or they're just saying these are 5 that can increase value. So in fairness, I think they're right. If you're preparing your home for sale, say in less than 6 months, I would probably do the more aesthetics. The front door knob better be shiny and beautiful. Nothing better be leaking and broken and hanging off the walls. And the kitchens and bathrooms better look like it's from 2025 and not from 1925. All right, Josh. They talk about the next one. Number 2 as being garage door replacement. Now, garage doors, typically they're just steel and they're kind of ugly, but I actually have a video up about improving the value and appearance of your garage door, and it was like a $40 Amazon kit. It's just an aesthetic thing, and it makes it look more old-fashioned. In the richer neighborhoods, they're doing solid wood, mahogany, beautiful garage doors that are $5,000. A $600 steel door to me looks good. They do the fake raised simulated wood grain. You've all seen them. All right, number 3 on this list: exterior stone veneer and new vinyl siding. Boy, I tell you, new siding and or stone is like the skin of the house. It will update a house super quick. You got to get past that initial curb appeal if you want to add value, possibly sell your house. They have to at least get out of the car with the realtor. They have to want to walk in, if they're going to turn around and say, I'm not even going in. So the front has to look good and somewhat updated. Do you have any questions? You're old enough, I bet, that you remember the transition from like wood, aluminum, and then to vinyl. I have some memories of the first time I saw a vinyl sided house. It looked like a plastic coated house. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. Do you have any memories?
Yeah, so I I experienced that growing up because we grew up poor and we lived in a trailer, a single wide trailer that had metal siding. And
Aluminum,
then
probably.
we moved to, I remember there being trailers being pulled into the trailer park that had vinyl siding. And that was the like, oh, that's so nice. I do remember that as a kid. But then,
My first memories is it looked cheap, but I do think it got better as now we see it on multi-million-dollar mansions every day.
uh-huh.
So I do think
Yeah.
it got better.
But then we moved to a little house out where my parents still live there to this day, but it's not vinyl or wood. It's like this, I mean, it's not vinyl or metal. I guess it's a woodish
Yep.
type siding. But it's not in the best shape. So it's hard to
Okay.
describe. It's not
They have
good
these
wood.
cement composite. It looks like traditional wood, but it doesn't rot and decay. You just got to keep
Mhm.
it painted, but it looks good. It looks good. Okay, Josh, on this list, they're claiming number 4 is the new entry door replacement. I have heard this one on realtor websites before. That
Really?
entry door, yeah, the entry door, I guess, is like the first opinion being formed. The realtor is fumbling with the key box and trying to get the key in, and the buyer's awkwardly waiting there to walk in. And if that front door, is warped and the paint is peeling and the knob doesn't work, it just doesn't start off well. So I guess human psychology, the professionals are saying that front door replacement can go a long, long way. I just have a standard front door with 36 inches with a small window. I wish I had a nice wide side light window. Someday I'll improve, and we'll see. What's your front door look like, Josh? Is it mahogany and $6,000?
No, no, no. It's a metal door that looks woodish. And we've
Nice.
painted it 2 or 3 times since we moved in, and it's got the flat part of the window with a rounded top, if I remember correctly. Um,
Like a half
so
round in the
yeah,
top.
like a half
Okay.
circle.
Yep. Beautiful.
Deoxy, I'm probably not saying their name correctly, but I don't know if you saw this. They wrote, "I prefer to just wait." I think they're talking about the HVAC, but I could be wrong. "I prefer to just wait and not replace it. Even when I sell the house, I would simply disclose that to new owners would need to do that." Thoughts?
But, you can chime in too, Josh, please. It's your channel, but I would just say that might work if it's a hot market, more buyers than sellers, more demand than supply. If your house is in demand and it's a hot market, I'll be real, you don't have to do anything. Just disclose
That's
it,
true.
tell a realtor ask top dollar, and you'll probably get offers. In my market right now, as long as the house is literally not falling apart, you're going to have offers within about 24, 48 hours.
Well,
However, go ahead.
oh, I was just say to add a little more context, they wrote, "I own a home. It has central air and I never use it. The home is 18 years old. I found out a couple years ago that it is broken. I was told that due to new regulations, I needed to replace it." Okay. So
No.
that gives us a
Now,
little context.
as you were selling your company, you probably got tired of hearing that. The old refrigerants, we can't work on this one anymore. We have to replace it.
Right.
Josh, did you hear that? You heard that every day, right? They
A
thought it
little
was
bit.
going to
Yeah.
be a $300-400 repair, and then they got a $6,000 quote for the AC or something like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
I would say, and I'm not going to try to pronounce the name because I know I'll mess it up, but the nice viewer that's on the screen right now, I would say that might work for you. Yes, you always have the legal right to simply sell your home as is. In the state that you're in, you are required to fill out a seller's disclosure sheet where you're putting out the information about what you know about the home. Certainly don't lie. That is a legal binding document. If you know the AC is shot, report that it's not operating. And so just be honest in that. And yes, you can sell your house as is. But if you're in a nicer neighborhood and you really, really want to get top dollar and just crush it in value, you probably should start replacing things. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The number 5 on this list, Josh, in our article here, and I guess we were right. It says minor kitchen remodel and updating. And they mean minor. They say, hey, spend a few thousand, don't spend 50,000. But yeah, kitchens will sell homes all day long. I think that goes back to the old fashioned, but it still holds true in all my experience, that the female is typically the decision maker. So say you have just a traditional male female buyer, and you have to sell her. She has to like it. She has to want to move there and envision herself in your home. Otherwise, the deal's not going through. So I think that's why historically kitchens and bathrooms just always have been top of the list for the quickest ways you can add value to your home.
I think it just gets back to if you've got somebody coming into your home and they're looking at a, 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath home, and the realtor can say, well, it has a new heating and air system, or they could say, hey, the heating and air system is going to have to be replaced, but check out this kitchen. It is sexy. you know
Yes. Yes.
I don't know
I agree. I think we know how that conversation is going to go. The beautiful kitchen, the Instagram kitchen pictures, those are going to win every time. What is your take on like even quality of HVAC? If somebody was selling it and they just put a bargain basement, Goodman, what's the lowest efficiency you can legally buy? Can you still buy 80 percenters?
Yeah,
For
for
furnaces?
now,
Okay.
there are some states that's not going to be true very soon. It seems like, but for now, yes. And that's what I was saying earlier. Is I've never had a realtor or even a home like a potential seller say to me, "Hey, I want to get as much value out of this home as I can, so let's go with a higher end system." Now, I'm sure there's exceptions to that rule. I'm sure
Okay.
there's times when they can say, "Hey, this is a high efficient." Geothermal system, or I don't know. But in my experience, usually the buyers just they're just going to say, is it new? Yes, it's
Age and
new.
re- Age and
New,
reliability.
yeah, new HVAC system. Okay, great. So I don't have to worry about that. And they don't particularly, I'm not saying they don't care, but they don't care.
I think that's a super good point. It's probably very, very stressful about buying a house. They're concerned about a lot of things. They might have anxiety. They think, I don't know how much they have trust issues. Maybe they think the home inspector and the realtor is lying to them. So yeah, if you can say literally has a brand new HVAC and water heater, and in my area, there's also a huge difference between the do-it-yourself installer and if it has a code inspection sticker from the local jurisdiction. Did they pull a permit? A lot of times, the term flippers is a negative term because a lot of time a flipped home, we can see that they've replaced every wire, every plumbing pipe, every HVAC air duct in the entire house, and yet there's no evidence or records of a permit being pulled on anything, Josh. So we
Yeah.
get a little sus on that. Like, yeah, you're buying, quote, a new renovated house, but probably didn't add as much value as you thought because you might have to go back and pay for repairs and eventually pull permits. It could be a thing.
Yeah. That's I never even considered that, but that's pretty scary sounding.
In your area, did you guys always pull permits? Is it
Uh
is it typically
we
the homeowner or was it the
we
contractor?
So we always pulled our own permits, but
Okay.
I've heard of that. I've heard of guys that are not licensed or for whatever reason, maybe they are licensed. I don't know what the reason is, but they'll have the homeowner go pull it. In Virginia, and I think this is true for most states. You can replace a heat pump, an electric heating and air system without pulling a permit. But or it's not required. You can still go pull one, but it's not required to pull one. Um, However, if you replace a fossil fuel burning appliance like a furnace by code, you're supposed to pull a permit every time. I'm not
Interesting.
saying everybody does, but you're supposed to.
So that distinction, you have explosive gas, you have carbon monoxide risk compared to electric. Yeah, I could see that. We have a lot of do-it-yourselfers around here. We're somewhere in between urban and rural, and a house flipper buying in the middle of the country will try to do anything on their own to save a buck and not call the professional for sure. But you can
Yeah.
spot the differences a mile away. If you're in homes all the time, you can spot the difference a mile away between a first-time homeowner fumbling their way through stuff and an actual contractor that has been in the industry for a minute for sure. Looks a lot
Yeah.
different. The quality of the work looks a lot different.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I hear you.
Awesome.
Well, so the article, let me see if I don't know if you saw, but your article finally did pop up. Actually, let's throw it back up real quick
Sure.
and then just summarize real quick. We said, go ahead, Larry. So number
Yep,
one,
yep. HVAC, they're saying it adds value to the home. We took a little bit of umbrage because we think the sexy items such as a new kitchen and a bath might be better spent if you're going to resell if it's just for your quality of life and you want to be more environmentally friendly and enjoy a comfortable house, do the HVAC. Garage door replacement. I think anything on the front of the house. So we got exterior stone and new vinyl siding, garage door replacement, and later on the list they even have a new front door. I think that's curb appeal. You have to get them past the front of the house before they can even come in to see if they want to buy the house. And then minor kitchen remodel. I started to watch this new show. It's called No Demo Reno. No Demo Reno. Demo renovation. So she's not gutting the houses to the studs and rebuilding everything. It's more the cosmetics. And I tell you, the before and the after videos are just, there she is. There's an ad for it right there. Boy, they're listening to our they're listening to us, Josh.
No, I did that.
Oh, you did
But
that.
that would
Okay.
be funny if they did do not
I
funny.
looked down.
'Cause it's,
I looked down for
yeah.
a second. I'm like, is that real? Okay. So no demo reno. Yeah, it's shocking what just like paint, flooring, resurfacing cabinets can do. It changes, it transforms the feel of a room. It really, really does. So yeah, you don't have to rip everything apart and rebuild an entire house. Not at all.
I don't like that color she picked for the cabinets. I'm just gonna
It's
say.
it's trendy. It's
Ugh.
yeah, it's trendy.
I hate that word. My wife will. So we just put new floors in our house, and I've wanted bright colored floors for years, but they were not trendy for a while. Now they
Okay.
are, and I'm like, well, what about when they're not going to be trendy again? Are we going to have to pull these floors up again? So anyway,
Give me an example of a bright colored floor. I'm just curious. Like, what do you mean by bright colored floor? Well, what kind of floor are we talking?
so
Like a
it's
snap block?
LVP.
Yep. So you mean light colored?
Let me just see if I just put white LVP, if that brings it. So it's
Oh
kind of
yeah.
like
So very,
this, but
very light. Yes.
yeah, it's
I
kind
have
of like this, but probably a lot darker than this.
I
But
have a new video coming out this week comparing LVP. For those of you that don't know, that's luxury vinyl planks. It's vinyl planks that snap together versus laminate. We're comparing the two. Yeah, laminate, LVP. Everybody can install it themselves. It's relatively easy. It's handles great for kids spilling crap and pets and scratches, and it's really amazing stuff. You'll see in the video. I'm actually whacking it with a hammer and submerging it in water and trying to destroy it. They're pretty good stuff. The light color, yeah, we actually just put that similar gray, that Park Creek pine, something very similar in an office I was renovating recently in a small business, and that's almost the identical color repicked. I think it looked great.
yeah,
I never
I like
thought,
it.
yeah, you call
I,
it bright or light. Yeah, I just thought it was normal. It's grays are trendy. You don't like
well,
that word,
in
Josh?
contrast, the floor that we pulled up was also LV, but it was the
P.
old LVT that stuck to one another. It was still floating floor, but it was more of this color.
Okay.
So it was, our home was, it's just significantly brighter and lighter now, in our house, and I like it. That's how I'm give me a white floor, white walls, stainless steel appliances kind of guy,
I like the lighter colors too. I don't know if I would go white floor. That's really dramatic, but Tom, then the bills hit you when you buy the home. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've met every possible buyer known to man, the inexperienced, perhaps young first-time buyer, the middle-aged buyer, the very seasoned buyer that is a structural engineer and has bought and sold 40 homes in his life. And as they get more experience, they tend to ask the right questions about the quality of the home and not so much the cosmetics. You can always change paint and floor. You can always change paint and floor, but you can't necessarily change the grading in the yard or the roof slope or design or the type of heating system it has, unless you want to drop 30K, depending on what type of home situation you have. And I think people are becoming more wise to, I want the home to be comfortable. I don't want it to be drafty. We're seeing a lot, during the pandemic, there was a lot of buyers that just needed a house no matter what, and they were accepting anything at top dollar. And now some homes are sitting a little bit longer. I know some people that put in offers and then retracted their offers after they found the home was too old or had more problems than they wanted to get into. So I think we're going to settle into an area where buyers are just more cautious, for sure, which
Yeah.
is a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. I think everything's going to balance out. We've had, inflation has been so crazy, and something's got to catch up. I think sometimes, I don't know if you're a fan of the show The Office.
A little bit.
there's a guy on there named Andy Bernard, and he says on one of the last episodes, he says, "I wish you knew you were in the good times when you were in the good times." And
100%.
and I think, from an economy standpoint, I think for a while there we were in the good times, and maybe we didn't even know it because
When eggs were 89 cents a dozen, nobody said thank you for that, and now I think they're creeping back up to 4 again, and you hear all the complaints. That's human nature. We certainly like to complain if anything is wrong, but nobody seems to be happy when things are right. Absolutely.
the Oxy says some kind words, Larry. So that's
Thank you.
that's supposed to be a heart. I don't know what it actually looks like, but it's supposed to be a heart.
I love it. I love it.
Tom
Thank you.
says on the HVAC topic, if someone feels very comfortable doing the job, following all requirements and proper installation, would you support the owner doing it? Do you have an opinion on that, Larry?
I think I have a direct example. Many, many years ago, I was younger, didn't have the gray here. I was flipping a home and replaced the AC. It did not have central AC. I replaced the gas furnace and bought it through a wholesale distributor, got a good price. And I replaced the furnace, connected to the heat ducts, connected the flue. The last 12 inches, Josh, of gas pipe, I did not connect. Called a licensed heating contractor, had him do the final hookups. Now, fair warning, there are some heating contractors that won't do that. If a homeowner has touched a system, they don't want to touch it. So, just know who you're working with. The contractor did the final hookup, Josh, gave me a nice installation receipt. I got a legal contractor with a receipt. We flipped the home, sold it, and everything was fine. So I did want that kind of.
How dare you, sir? I'm kidding.
I don't know. He fed his family that one day. For one day, he fed his family.
I'm kidding.
So yeah, we had a legal licensed contractor hook up the furnace. I did 90% of it to save money. He did the final 10%. Everybody's happy, I think, except for Josh. No, just kidding. We love.
No, it's great. It's great that you had someone that you had that kind of relationship with, because a lot of contractors won't even do that. But if someone else did the 90%, my answer to this has changed recently. And the reason is, for years, I was hard on homeowners. I would say, here's the deal. Some of the things we do is some pretty dangerous stuff. For example, just something as simple as not setting the gas pressures correctly on a furnace could spell out disaster fatally for homeowners, right? And then you start factoring in some of the other things like refrigerants, and some of those coming out are mildly flammable, and then you start looking at, like you mentioned, carbon monoxide, and we're actually within the last year have found out new things, that there are people that have illnesses and mental issues that we're finding out is directly related to low exposure to carbon monoxide. So it's not carbon monoxide and it killed you that night. It's carbon monoxide. Folks are on
over a
tons
long
of
period of time.
medications. Do what?
Over a long period of time.
Yeah.
So perhaps
long-term
they had
exposure.
30, 40 ppm parts per million, and it was over a long period of time. So it wasn't the one dramatic night that it was 500 or 5,000 ppm and they ran and called the fire department. It was not detectable for a long time.
Yeah.
That's scary stuff.
I had a conversation with a lady that she was on 6 different medications. She was walking with a cane. She was not even, I think, 40 yet. And they found out because a plumber came in her home wearing a personal carbon monoxide detector that it was all because of carbon monoxide.
Does she have a recovery or some lifelong? Do you know? If she had a
I think she's gotten a lot better. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if she's. I've never asked her. I've never gotten personal with her to know what all of the ins and outs. But guess how many gas burning appliances she had in her home?
Are you going to say only one, or are you going to say 6?
0.
Where'd the carbon monoxide come from?
Her neighbor. The flue pipe from the neighbor's house, when it was pushing it out, somehow was making it into her house because of drafts or stack effect or whatever the reason was. And they found out that was what it was.
Were the walls at least joined like a multifamily, like a condo or something? They weren't standalone homes, were they?
They were standalone homes, but I guess they had very small. Well, I actually don't know. I'm
Okay.
speculating
Which is
based on what I was
crazy.
heard, and I have certainly seen plenty of homes that are, you got a yard,
Yep.
7 feet wide between the homes and the property line, because we've even had to install outdoor HVAC systems and have to be mindful of the property line.
We have one builder like that where, Josh, they're building them so close together. And I'm like, the
Yeah.
grass isn't even going to grow here because the sun's never going to get in between the home. And yeah, if one was doing something weird, the other one's going to smell it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a weird carbon monoxide. As a trend, the country is going away from fossil fuels towards all electric equipment. And carbon monoxide is one of those theories on why we should be doing this. It has pros and cons. I don't think they'll be able to do this transition near as fast as they think they're going to get away with it. I just don't think it's going to work. But carbon monoxide is certainly a serious risk. Warming in my state, warming up your car in or very near the garage, 100% carbon monoxide right in the home, and they didn't even know what they were doing.
Yep.
So yeah, generators, portable generators, man. They're cold, they're desperate. They fire up a portable generator. It sounds like a lawnmower for a reason, because it's pumping a lot of fumes somewhere. So yeah, don't have that anyway. When I used to run a portable generator, I'd run it out of my driveway and then close the attached garage door and then run the cord underneath the closed door. So I just wanted it out as far as possible. Absolutely.
Yep. So I have changed my tune on this, because for the longest time I was the guy that said, if you don't know what you're doing, this can be dangerous, right? It was posed to me by one of our viewers, and they said, look, Josh, I keep calling contractors and they come to my home and they charge me hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, and they don't even own a manometer. They're
Yeah.
not even setting the gas pressures correctly. They're not even testing the static pressure on my ductwork. And I'm supposed to, I don't know what I'm doing, but this guy doesn't either. I might as well save my money and watch some YouTube and read some books.
I'm
It's
glad he
hard for me
shared
to
that story.
argue.
I'm glad he shared that story with you. That is true. And over the years, sometimes when I want to learn something new and there's a contractor on site, maybe a home I'm inspecting or going through something, if I see electrician, plumber, HVAC guy, I often will ask them a question, something that I've been wondering. Of all the fields, Josh, well, they all have bad actors, all of them. But sometimes in HVAC, maybe they sent me the lowest guy on the totem pole that literally got hired yesterday. But HVAC sometimes has been the most disappointing when I ask them just a simple question that I think they should know, and they're just drawing a blank, just drawing, maybe occasionally they say, "We'll call my boss," or something. He probably would know. So
And
yeah, that's a good point.
it's hard to fault those guys, right? I mean, we all started somewhere, but at the end of the day, with some of these things, with the amount of money that homeowners are paying, it's hard for some of them to digest. So I think if you have a good technician and they do everything correctly and they don't cut corners, then I don't think that a homeowner is ever going to be able, because I've had guys say that they'll comment and say, well, what you do isn't that hard. And I'm like, really? So explain to me the static pressure when your linear ductwork length is this much. Explain to me what you would do to, I mean, I'll ask them
100%.
simple questions and they give you a blank stare. And it's like,
And
okay, I thought what I did isn't that hard.
and the one thing they don't know literally can kill them or their loved ones. One thing goes wrong. So yeah, no, it's a big deal. But you said you changed your thought on that a little bit. I'm sympathetic to the homeowner for a number of reasons. Also, if a contractor is refusing to work with them, if they do any of the DIY work, then I feel like it's even worse, because then uh, they might screw up the venting on the flue and kill their entire family with carbon monoxide. Like I just feel like that shouldn't be a blanket rule of a contractor saying we will absolutely not let you do anything, or now you've messed it up and you want us to come fix it. You're on your own, buddy, because you didn't call us the first time. I just feel like you're in the business to help homeowners. If you think it's not worth your time, charge appropriately. But I think you should help homeowners.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's a whole nother, we could probably we could probably do 8 shows on that topic alone. But I still feel the same way. I feel like it's a dangerous job at times. I feel that there are certainly right and wrong ways to do it, but I get it. When a homeowner says, like Ryan just wrote, sometimes he feels like he knows more than the person that was sent to his home. It's hard for him to want to pay them at that point and hire somebody when, they just don't have that warm fuzzies, you know.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've had that feeling. I'm in the trades for 25 years, so I probably should have that feeling maybe. But it is a real problem. Finding quality contractors is not going to be cheap. If they're cheap for a reason. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. So, and I've had some heating and air guys get mad at me, and I'm like, you should only be mad if you are the guy cutting corners, you know?
Yep.
I
Yep.
had one time that I asked them if they had a static meter, and I was explaining to them the fact that variable speed motors, it's more paramount today to be checking static pressures than it was when we only had PSC motors. And I went into why, and I got into all that, and they, were almost kind of offended. And I'm like, you should only be offended unless if you are cutting corners,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah. I like Ryan's comment. I believe in the right to repair. Yeah, I agree. I feel like there are some states. I was researching this not too long ago. I think like Texas, you have to be a licensed plumber to change out a faucet, and they have a
really,
reputation of freedom in Texas, and in a lot of states with electrical, you can't work on your own house depending on what it is. Like maybe you can change a light bulb, but you can't change a broken outlet. Like that sounds crazy to me. You're the owner of that property. Very, very strange. Very strange. Yeah, I support the homeowner's right to do work on their own property. I think it clearly changes if it's a rental, if you're renting to tenants and you have strangers in a duplex, or then it's a commercial business and you should
right?
be hiring licensed people. But if it's literally your own home, yeah, I think you should have the right to work on it for sure.
Yeah, yep. Well, this is the article that I pulled up, Larry, and I have to tell you guys, I didn't even tell Larry what I was picking out. So boo on you, Larry. I'm what's the word I'm looking for?
You're
Ambushing
sup
you
you're
with
surprising
this.
me. That's all right.
Yeah. So, but I thought it was an interesting article because I think it plays well into what you just talked about. It says 3 energy conservation upgrades that can increase your home value. And so these are a little different, right? A little different to say replacing just your front door, right? And the first one is alternative energy. Why not harness the power of the sun to reduce your ability or your utility bills to appeal to future home buyers? I had never even considered that. Is that something you've run into at all, Larry?
Putting solar panels in?
Yeah, like would a potential buyer see more value in a home if the
The
home
ones
had
that the ones that we see, Josh, are so expensive that they have a deficit, in a debt, an amount due, so the current homeowner hasn't even paid them off yet. So if that debt transfers to the new guy, or they have to pay it off upon the sale of their home, no, I don't think a buyer's been in my area. We're a very cloudy state too. I don't think buyers have been asking for that. Down south, I could see it.
yeah. I mean, I had never even considered it until I saw this in this article because I feel like I've never experienced it, but I feel like I could see a home buyer saying, no electric bill or at least low electric bills.
Yeah, there are some innovations coming. I think Tesla's working on this shingle it's a solar cell that generates electricity, and it's a roof shingle. So literally you need it to keep the rain out, but it's also generating power at the same time. So you don't have big, ugly, unsightly panels on your house. It's literally built into the shingles. So
That's the only reason I don't have them because my wife is like, no
they're
solar
ugly.
panels. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. I actually have a big enough field here that I want turbines, wind generation. But, I understand they kill birds and they can be noisy at times, so I'll probably get vetoed on that. I have a wife as well.
There you go. Uh, they also noted in that first one, these upgrades can cost a lot up front. Therefore, take years to translate a return for homeowners who plan to stay in the place for a long time. But there are tax incentives for making the leap. There's a federal tax incentive that does offset probably by a third the cost of the installation in the country. Wind power and geothermal systems also can be an advantage if the home is in an area where geothermal heating is possible. This may help a home be more valuable than a less energy efficient home. As I said earlier, I'm not saying that geothermal wouldn't add value to the home, but I've just never heard of a buyer caring. Like I've never
No.
heard.
I mean, and Josh, it adds value if your buyer wants it. If you find that one buyer that wants it, it certainly adds value to them. Just like in-ground swimming pools, we have an in-ground swimming pool, and if the next buyer has young kids and wanted it, sure, it adds value. But if they think it takes up too much of the yard or it's a maintenance nightmare, no, it didn't add any value. So it's in the eye of the beholder or the buyer in this case.
Yeah. Number 2 is water conservation, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one too, because I have a few. But it says saving water starts with usage, but there are a few features that can help too. Low flow fixtures such as toilets and faucets save people money because those fixtures reduce the amount of water used in a home, and they also reduce the amount of water used that has to be treated by local communities and the water treatment plants that those communities use to treat wastewater. It also gets into landscaping. I don't want to
In my area, I can
irrigation.
say I've worked with thousands of home buyers. I have never had anybody ask me about water saving, or we're mostly private water wells. Even our city water, they get it from municipal water wells, so they're getting it from the ground. So apparently we have, and I'm by the Great Lakes, apparently we have lots and lots of water here. Now, if you're in New Mexico, Arizona, Las Vegas, I imagine you're forced for water consumption, and it's very expensive and all of that. But here in Michigan, I've never had anybody ask me about water saving features.
Same. And to kind of get back on topic, right? We're talking about whether or not it would add value to your home. And as my dad used to say, a house is only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. And does it really add value to your home? They went on to talk about recycling gray water from your home and things like that. And I just don't know that a home buyer, they may think it's nice, but I don't know that it's going to affect whether or not they want to purchase that home or pay more for it.
I agree with you. Ryan had a question that I think is from the previous one. Tesla has a whole house backup battery. Last time I saw a picture of it, I thought it looked about the size of a refrigerator. So this thing was ginormous, and it sits in your basement or an unused portion of your house. And yes, it stores the electricity, and you can literally sell it back to the power company during low usage times. If you lose power during a storm, you still have the backup for maybe 48 hours. I could see the appeal of it. I think battery technology still has a long way to go, but I could see that being part of the solution in the future, these whole house batteries.
I guess maybe something like that.
Yeah. That thing looks like a freaking refrigerator. It looks ginormous. And I see on you scroll down, there was a bigger. I see you can buy additional ones, and somebody had them stacked like 3 in a row. I forget if it was up or down. Go down, Josh, if you. Sorry.
That's as far down.
I thought I saw one slide where there was like 3 of them stacked up. So they got more capacity. Oh yeah, it's probably one of the. Scroll down just a touch more on that right. Yeah, that one that's real thick with the black. Yeah, look at that. So they're stacking up multiple, so they're getting more capacity. I don't know. For the environment, it's probably terrible because of how they have to manufacture those batteries and the limited lifespan, and then they have to dispose or recycle them. But I can see wow, look at that. It looks like a gaming system. I could see the value of that. No carbon monoxide, no expensive generators. You don't have to put gas in anything. You just have an automatic backup storage in your house.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say this. They don't take away, they're not as cosmetically unpleasing as some other things that folks will add to their house. So I'll give them that.
Agreed. They're like Apple. They want the aesthetics to look beautiful first before the technology. They want it to look pretty. Absolutely. Yeah. Look at that. Thanks for looking that up. You're always
Oh,
good at that. So a viewer will comment something, you just look it up on the fly, and we're right there.
yeah. I
But okay,
well,
Ryan
that's
says
always
there's
been what I wanted to do, but it wasn't working for a bit. So
Ryan said there's dozens of manufacturers. So Tesla was just the first one on the top of my brain, Ryan. So that's good to know that there's lots of competition out there.
reduced water usage does not add value. You need to flush the toilets twice as much.
Yeah.
You do not actually save any water use. It is physics.
I was
Can't
talking
argue
to
with
a
that.
renovator. I was talking to a renovator just yesterday, and he said he's seeing toilets that are more than the 1.6 gallons per flush. 1.6 has been the federal mandate for decades. And now he's saying he's seeing larger capacity. So I guess times are changing. You get those strong toilet flushes back.
But the one that I thought was the most interesting with this particular article, I'd like to go through. It says using the best systems. And this is the one that if we are going to talk about our topic at hand here on whether or not it adds value to the home, it says while you might think of energy upgrades as being smart, high-tech changes to a home systems, it's not always the case. In fact, just having newer appliances and core systems can make a world of difference in your home. Quote, new HVAC systems such as electric mini split heaters and other types of electric heating units are much more efficient and thus help save money on utility bills. Newer and more efficient appliances such as stoves, refrigerators, washing machines, and dryers save money over the long term. New water heaters also save money because they use less electricity, natural gas, or propane. Um, do I want to go through all of this? Lent suggests paying attention to your HVAC systems. Having a furnace or hot water tank that runs efficiently will not only save you money while living in your home, but it's also a prized feature among potential buyers. Finally, while most smart home upgrades can be removed, Lunt says some can add value to the home if you leave them behind. That goes for smart thermostats, which adjust the temperature based on whether or not your home and other smart home alert systems that can detect issues like water leaks. So, thoughts on all of that, Larry?
The smart thermostats have won. They've definitely taken over. I remember the first time I saw an Apple Nest. Is that the right term? Nest, the round black smart thermostat. It knows when somebody's home. Otherwise, it tries to draw
Google.
down on the.
Google owns Nest.
They but Google bought, not Apple. Thank you, thank you. The first time I saw one in a home, it looked like rocket technology. I was impressed, but I thought it was going to be a novelty. I thought it was only going to be for the geeks, right? And no, the Nest and all the knockoff versions of the Nest that came after, I see them everywhere. Absolutely. In fact, our local utility company gives them out for free now. I forget. There's a
Really?
little there's a little minor program you sign up for, and then they give them to you just because I don't know. Maybe they're given free. They probably have money to spend for some kind of efficiency programs. But yeah, we see those everywhere. And then what was the point right above the thermo? Oh, the efficiencies. We see it a lot with old appliances like a refrigerator. I'll have a young buyer during a home inspection, and there'll be a refrigerator, Josh, that looks like it's from 1979. And they say, "What do you think about replacing that?" I said, "Well, your pocketbook will thank you because your electrical costs are going to go down 75% when you get that old piece of junk out of there." So, the old refrigerators will go forever. They literally would not break down, but boy, your electric meter is just going to be spinning and spinning. So, yeah, sometimes you do got to upgrade equipment for sure.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that jumped out at me because again, as I said earlier, I don't know that a homeowner's ever said, "Well, what's the SEER rating on that heating and air system you just installed?" Right? But if they walk into a house and the realtor is able to say, "Hey, listen, we've got this, this, and this, and they're all designed to help you save money," maybe just maybe if it doesn't necessarily add to the value of the home, it may at least add to the chances of you selling that home to those folks. But there was something else I was going to mention. Oh, I was going to say Nest is not a sponsor of our channel. But since Google owns Nest and YouTube is owned by Google, maybe, just maybe, we'll both become, YouTube famous tomorrow, Larry. This channel and your
Yeah,
channel are gonna blow up.
I think the AI is going to hear us say nest about 12 times in the stream, and yeah, I think we're about ready to be independently wealthy and retired. Yeah.
There you go. That's awfully nest of you. It's awfully nest of you.
Thank you, sir.
I bought an Ecobee today from my utility company that was it was discontinued. Cheapest place to buy a smart thermostat nowadays. Gary, welcome to the show. Could not find the link to this show for some reason, but glad to finally find you. I am subscribed, but maybe I can keep missing something. So we are trying something new, Gary. I'm glad you brought this up. So anybody that is joining us, I used to always post the link days ahead of time. But we found out the algorithm may not like that. We actually don't know. I was actually talking to Larry about this before the show. So just know we are still going to be here every Tuesday night, unless I say otherwise. And I always try to post on the community tab if we're not going to be having a show this week or that week. But instead of posting the link days ahead of time, we're going to usually post the link, minutes ahead of time.
Yeah.
It seems to help the algorithm. It tells YouTube we're here. Let everybody know we're here.
So 8:30 Tuesdays Eastern Standard Time. If you don't see the link, nothing's wrong. Check maybe 8:15. Check maybe 8:15 or 8:20. But
yeah,
nothing's wrong. Tuesday 8:30. It's still coming. Like it.
I always post. So I've been doing this show for probably 2 years now. If you count the entire process, and
Nice.
of all
when I
those,
started my channel, I saw you immediately on YouTube. Absolutely.
Of all those Tuesdays, I've only missed 2, I think, and one of them was a couple weeks ago.
That's
I had
very
bronchitis. So
Ryan clarified, discounted, not discontinued. Yeah, my local utility company mails me energy saving products at a highly discounted rate all the time, like water saving shower heads, electrical gadgets, smart thermostats all the time. And yeah, their prices are phenomenal. I mean, sometimes, Josh, it's 75-80% off of what's what's the going rate is. So very, very impressive.
Yeah. I've not had any experience with those, but I've had a few customers. We actually had a customer that signed up for some program that they would get a reduced utility bill if they signed up and got the thermostats through the power company. And the what was in it for the power company was they got to, at peak times, not allow them to have in this case second stage heating. And so we had 3 callbacks, I think, from this particular customer before I finally figured it, because I'm like, I would get out there and the system would be working great. And so finally I told her, I was like, you're going to be cold in the middle of the night if you say on that program. We got to jerk these out of here.
Yeah, we have a similar here in Michigan. One of the biggest utility service providers, they mail you a letter. They said, hey, let us put on the smart thermostat. We're going to control it and you're going to save money. But in the middle of summer, when the wife is sweating and she says, turn down the AC a little bit cooler, and the utility company says, no, I don't think that's going to work out too well. So I did not sign up for that program, Josh.
Yeah, I'm too much of a control freak. Leave my system alone.
100%.
So,
and we work hard. And if you want to keep your temperature in your house, what you want to keep it, right? Spend your hard earnings on yourself. Absolutely. The people on Facebook that brag in Michigan, they'll be like, I haven't turned my furnace on yet for the season, and it's November 15th and it's 10 degrees outside. Like, what? I know the person, they work hard 40 hours a week. I'm like, don't you care about creature comfort? Spend the money on yourself. Forget the Starbucks. Spend it on your heat, for goodness sakes. They like to suffer, I guess.
We've got a little bit of time left here, so I thought I would touch on. So another thing we've been doing lately, Larry, is we've been, if my computer allows me to show it, we've been doing polls on our channel. Um, and so this past week we had one that was, which one of these is most important to you when replacing an HVAC system? So if you're joining us in the chat, feel free to answer this question as well. I thought it was interesting because um I I always go into these thinking what I think the answer is going to be, and I'm almost always wrong. So it says, which one of these is most important to you when replacing an HVAC system? 32%, over 200 people answered this, by the way. 32% of them said pricing is the most important thing. 9% said warranty. 45% said contractor reputation, and 14% said something else. So those people that said something else, I wonder if they Ryan, who's here on our show, says contractors' technical knowledge and their own installation processors. If the person selling me the system cannot explain their company's installation process and how they determine a proper install, I cannot trust them. In addition, I like to see pictures and videos of previous jobs that they actually performed. Pricing, warranty, and company reputation are important, but if the installation is bad, all that means nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think, Larry?
Well, he's an educated homeowner. He cares enough to research, ask questions. Not all homeowners are like that. A lot, and I get it. Life is hard at times, and you might be in a bad place, and they're just surviving, and they're just getting through. So if the furnace breaks, they might just go with literally the cheapest guy or the first guy that answers their phone and returns the call. I get it, but yeah, a more seasoned homeowner that has time to research and plan ahead, contractor is what you care about for sure. The guy or the gal installing it, how many years have they been doing it, reputation, all of that. That's smart.
No doubt. Yeah. I've actually considered putting together sort of a quiz or a questionnaire, but I'm sure there's some contractors that would love to come after me then. But maybe the question, if they're going to be putting in a furnace, the first question could be, can I see your manometer?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I see your combustion analyzer? Because if they don't own one, then chances are they will not be installing that system correctly.
Smart.
So there was one other. Let's see. How do I go back here? And then this one says, okay, this must be my producer posts some of these questions. She wrote, do you think you'll be seeing snow this year? Drop us a comment to let us know what state you're in. So 66% of our audience said yes, 24% said no,
50,
and 9% 50-50. Larry's probably a no. He's in one of those sunshiny states down south. So
I will be in a week and a half. I'll be in California, Southern California.
Oh, you actually answered this, Larry.
I did. I see myself there. Yeah.
Yeah.
We will see snow. We've already we saw snow on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I remember this a couple of days ago. Somebody wrote, they're in Ohio and they dropped 4 feet of snow. And I wrote, wow.
That has to be lake effect. So coming off of Lake Erie, if the jet stream sets up just right and it's cold enough, they'll get just massive snow that dumps right around the Great Lakes. And then the people further away are pretty good and are fine. But yeah, and then us is Lake Michigan, Ohio, it's going to be Lake Erie probably. Yeah, lake effect can be a big problem if you live too close to these Great Lakes. That's a lot of snow.
I can't imagine, because I live near the Rappahannock River in Virginia, and sometimes in the winter that could be quite chilly. So I can't imagine what it's like up there with the Great Lakes. I mean,
there have been something like as many ships sunk in Lake Michigan and Lake Superior as like the Atlantic Ocean. It's like because in bad weather, it can still be just as treacherous, I guess, as an ocean. So don't get caught in Lake Michigan during bad weather.
Water is water. Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, let's do this. We're going to wrap up in just a moment, folks. If you are here on our chat, do us a favor. And that is, as always, we know there's some bad apples out there. We know there's some folks that make us all look bad. If you know a good HVAC company, electrician, or plumbing company, or I'm even going to throw home inspection company in there. If you know somebody good out there, share their name in the chat, where they're located, show them some love. And you never know, you might end up showing them a little more than love. You might show them, send some business their way if someone in your area happens to see your comment. So drop those in the comment section as we wrap up, and I will highlight those on the screen. Numbers are still pretty good tonight, Larry. We didn't get up as high as last week, but it says we currently have 17 on here. Some of those, or a
Nice.
lot of those, might be yours. I don't know. It doesn't tell me who's where, but it just says how many are here.
Yeah, I
But
don't have that number. I don't have that number on my screen, so I've been wondering, I guess.
yeah, so it's been hovering between 10 and 20 the whole show.
Great, fantastic.
So Ryan says keep heating and cooling in Erie, Pennsylvania. So shout out to those folks. They must be doing something right.
Nice.
Which, by the way, Ryan, don't you live in North Carolina? You must really think something about those folks if they're up in Pennsylvania. Gary says A+ HVAC in Westfield, Massachusetts. My guys, have a good week, Josh and Larry. Enjoyed the presentation as always.
Thank you.
Nice. I like Gary. I like all of
Everybody
our
likes Gary.
viewers. Gary is one of, and Ryan too. They've been they're longtime folks. They've joined us and asked. They like put me on the spot, especially Ryan. He loves to stump me.
We like our heating and air when it works right, but the second something goes wrong, there's trouble. Absolutely.
It's not hard to stump me. So helping family this week pick an HVAC contractor for an install. Nice. I'm sure they appreciate that. That's sometimes taxing.
Yeah, it's the biggest factor. I mean, as a consumer, I would absolutely pay more than I thought for a job or project because I like the contractor and I trust them and their experience. Absolutely. Life is not the aggravation down the road if something goes wrong just because you saved a few bucks. Not going to be worth it.
I love it. Well, good enough. Well, I appreciate you guys. If you don't happen to see this fat face again between now and then, have a Merry Christmas. This is a fun time of year. I will be streaming. So I guess that's next week. Next Tuesday is the week of Christmas. Oh, that's, you know
Christmas
what?
Eve,
that would
Josh.
be Christmas Eve. I will not be streaming. My wife probably would kill me. So we will not be here next week. And then the week after that would be what? New Year's?
Probably New Year's Eve. Let me check.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's New Year's Eve.
So I will not see you guys again until January 7th. January 7th is when we will be back for our live shows. In the meantime, I'll try to put together something. Sometimes we'll do Saturday morning lives, and maybe between now and then we'll do that. Ryan says it's mind-blowing how cheap it is there. Charlotte is 2.5 to 3 times the price. I've experienced that too, where I'll help people in other states and I'll be like, wow, it's significantly cheaper in your area or more expensive, but usually cheaper because I live in an area where people will retire to, I guess. And
Pennsylvania has some really rural areas.
Yeah. Yep. So good enough. Well, as always, I normally say I'll see you next week, but I'll see you on January 7th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So find out what that time is in your area. Have a Merry Christmas. Larry, thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure, hanging out. I just heard a bang in my house. So let me go find out what that is. But for the rest of you, Larry, don't go anywhere. But for the rest of you, have a great night. Merry Christmas. I'll see you in a couple weeks.